did in fact return indictments that encompassed, among other crimes, the theft, receipt, and trafficking in stolen bourbon from both Buffalo Trace and Wild Turkey distilleries. Specifically, one such indictment has charged 9 individuals. Some of those names might already have been known to you. Gilbert Kurtzinger, Julie Kurtzinger, Mark Sean Searcy, Ronnie Lee Hubbard, Dusty Atkins, Christopher Preston, Joshua Preston, Robert McKinney, and Sean Ballard. All those individuals were charged with engaging in organized crime, all operating as members of a criminal syndicate or crime ring that has been operating centrally from Franklin County since about January 2008 through April 7, 2015. During this course of time, members of this criminal syndicate centered around Mr. Kurtzinger and Gilbert Toby have collaborated on a continuing basis to promote or engage in the theft and receipt of stolen barrels of bourbon and bottles of bourbon, including Pappy Van Winkle family bourbons and Eagle Rare bourbon from Buffalo Trace Distillery, the theft and receipt of stolen barrels of bourbon from Wild Turkey Distillery, the illegal trafficking in stolen barrels of bourbon from Wild Turkey Distillery, and illegal trafficking in stolen barrels of bourbon, and including bottles of bourbon, including Pappy Van Winkle and Eagle Rare from Buffalo Trace, as well as in the trafficking and controlled substances, including anabolic steroids, all in the furtherance of this criminal crime ring. Thus, what we have here is a multifaceted crime ring, essentially with 3 separate categories: Buffalo Trace, Wild Turkey, and steroids aspects. But the common link between all of these categories is Mr. Kurtzinger, who was centrally involved in every criminal aspect of this criminal syndicate. Each of these additional individuals in one way or another acted to establish or maintain this criminal syndicate or its activities, engaged in the activities of this criminal syndicate, provided material aid to the criminal syndicate, particularly in the form of monetary benefits, paying for these bottles and barrels of bourbon, managing, supervisor, directed these activities of the criminal syndicate, or committed, conspired, or attempted to act as an accomplice or commit the theft and receipt of stolen bourbon from Buffalo Trace, receipt and theft of stolen bourbon from Wild Turkey, trafficking in intoxicating liquors, and illegal trafficking in steroids. As a result of this investigation, much of this stuff you see behind it, but also what is already booked into evidence, the following bourbons have been recovered directly attributable to this criminal syndicate. Of course, the initial 5 barrels of bourbon recovered from the home of Toby and Gilbert and Julie Kurtzinger's home on March 11, 2015. Since that time, an additional 12 wooden barrels have been recovered from areas ranging from Scott County, Harrison County, and Laurel County, Kentucky. The contents of one additional wooden barrel of bourbon, each of these wooden barrels would have been worth approximately $3,000 to $6,000 to the distilleries, depending on the exact type and age, so it's within those ranges. Additionally, there's been one stainless steel barrel of Eagle Rare 17-year-old bourbon valued at approximately alone $11,000 to $12,000. Contents of another similar stainless steel barrel also was recovered, along with 25 bottles of varying Van Winkle family bourbons. Information has otherwise been obtained and presented to the grand jury, which led to this indictment. But the following bourbon was also stolen and distributed by members of the criminal syndicate: over 20 cases of Pappy Van Winkle bourbons, 50 to 70 cases of Eagle Rare bourbon, also made by Buffalo Trace or Buffalo Trace. 9 additional stainless steel barrels of bourbon from Buffalo Trace stolen in November and December 2014, and numerous other wooden barrels that are still yet to be recovered. Additionally, many of these same individuals involved in bourbon theft and trafficking were also involved in the obtaining and distribution of anabolic steroids here in Franklin County. This aspect of the investigation culminated in the controlled delivery by the U.S. Postal Inspector and the Franklin County Sheriff's Office of a package containing anabolic steroids to Joshua Preston that had been shipped from China, in fact. In addition, the Franklin County grand jury returned individual indictments against Gilbert and Julie Kurtzinger, charging Mr. Kurtzinger with receiving stolen property over $10,000, that being for Buffalo Trace. The second count, receiving stolen property for Wild Turkey over $10,000. 4 counts of enhanced trafficking and controlled substances, 4 different types of anabolic steroids seized from his residence, as well as both Kurtzingers for enhanced drug paraphernalia and for Ms. Kurtzinger complicity to trafficking in Lady Anavar. These indictments are the result of more than a month of investigation by the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. Providing vital assistance in this investigation were numerous other law enforcement agencies, including the Scott County Sheriff, Anderson County Sheriff's Office, Taylor County Sheriff's Office, Laurel County Sheriff's Office, Logan County, West Virginia Sheriff's Office, United States Postal Inspectors, the State of Indiana Excise Police, and particularly the Cyber Crimes Branch of the Attorney General's Office. And even though we've already heard from Attorney General Conway, simply put, this investigation and presentation of this case to the grand jury today could not have occurred at such a fast pace had it not been for the investigative resources made available by Attorney General Conway. The forensic analysis performed on countless electronic devices by the Cyber Crimes Branch provided key evidence and investigative leads without which we would not be here today. As is obvious, this has been a collaborative effort amongst all these law enforcement agencies, and thus the Commonwealth has benefited from this collaboration. As otherwise mentioned, this is an ongoing investigation. There are many other individuals of interest, and there's a possibility of further indictments in the future. I urge anyone who has information regarding these matters or information as to the location of additional barrels or bottles of bourbon consistent with these to please contact